Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're with us on this Monday morning. Start off a big week on Panhandle Outdoors. We have some really special guests all week long, so we have it strung out, so some really good stuff coming up. Let's take a look at our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard and the hard-working crew. How today's going to be, listen, it's going to be all the way up to 88 degrees and a low of 79, so it's warming up a little bit. Now the water temperature is still at 86 degrees, but boy, it dropped last week. A lot of things happened last week as far as fishing, and we were talking about it on the Friday fishing forecast. It was a really good weekend. We'll have some pictures tomorrow of some really good catches. Let's move on with our Monday moon phase brought to us by Panama City Coca-Cola. We're looking at 2/3 of a moon. You don't usually call it that way, but it's waxing, and it's going to be full this coming weekend. I have a full moon, so keep that in mind. I don't want to go floundering, but there's a lot of stuff going on in fresh water with the moon, different situations like that the day before and a couple of days after. So check out your calendar, make time to go fishing. All right, the tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Good, strong tide today. Looking at it, the high tide this morning, 6:30, and low this afternoon at 5:23. So looking good there. So let's go ahead and take our break. We'll be back with our special guest. Welcome back, and our guest this morning, familiar face, one of our monthly visitors, and he's always good with all kind of information. Our boat expert, Daniel Cole.
How you doing this morning?
Welcome back. We're talking about all kind of interesting stuff with boats, and you were just telling me just before we came back on the air about this, a paddle wheeler you're going to get a look at and do an appraisal?
Yeah, we're doing an appraisal survey on a steel hull, 130-foot paddle wheeler. It was initially built in 1928.
Oh my goodness.
And it was built for the Army Corps of Engineers. Believe it or not, it's 130 foot. It was a push boat. And it's been since then transitioned out of their hands into private hands. And it's been used to do, some other things, taking trips and sightseers, things like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of run its course. So we have a client that's very interested in purchasing it. So it's we're looking at that coming up pretty soon. It's going to be interesting.
That's got to be enjoyable to take a look at that. That's right, almost 100 years old.
That's right.
And now, can you imagine? They got their money's worth when they built that. What's going to last 100 years when you build something?
That's right.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. The tugboats we see today, they build these large monsters but back then that's what they had to use. Paddle wheelers were, I think, probably because of the power of the engines. The big paddle wheel got more bite on the water probably than the propellers of the smaller tugs they were using at the time, so it actually had more push capability, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's a historical piece.
Oh, I bet you are. You look on the Mississippi River, I've seen where you can take cruises up the river down on these boats and all.
That's right.
Are these original boats they've had, or have they redone them? How do they do those?
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're newer boats that have been built to look like older boats.
Yeah,
but you, especially getting up around like the Natchez area of Mississippi, you can see some older stuff that's been kept up, and the older it is, the better. This vessel is actually on the national registration for historic vessels, so it's
wow.
It's going to be fun to take a look at. So
that's cool. Let me know when you're going to do that. Send me the pictures.
I will. We'll bring pictures. We'll do a show on it one day, maybe.
That'll be really cool. Talking about boats, and we go through different stages of life. So you can't get one boat to last you forever, but you have different stages. I know I started out building a canoe. I literally built one. I wouldn't do that now because I wouldn't really feel that comfortable. And then you want a skillful flounder gig, and then you want a river boat, then you want one in shallow water. What would be your dream boat, or what kind of boat would you? I know you've had a lot of boats.
I've had about everything that's run the gamut. People laugh because of the size of some of the stuff that we look at, and they ask me, what do you like? And I'm like, to be honest with you, pretty much what I got, which is
That's true.
It's an 18-foot aluminum tunnel hull. I've had the sailboats, I've had the big cruisers, I've had all the different stuff, the power boats, offshore boats. But anymore, I just spending time freshwater, a little Salt Bay, a little. I may go into Gulf a little bit with it, but that's really what I'm happy with.
Yeah, and I think we sort of funnel our energy and all toward this one or two things that we enjoy doing, and get that kind of.
Less upkeep, less expense. I mean, now if money was not an object, I'm sure I could think of several boats I would love to have. But I've always had an affinity for the big Grand Banks cruisers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Those are nice pilot houseboats, and you see others that, but those type boats, I enjoy. I kind of got past the sail. I always wanted something that's heavy sail, but there's so much upkeep and so much to them. They just don't have the appeal to me anymore. But
I went through that stage too when our kids went in the ship about pre-teens, and we were got a little sun skiff, and we sailed all over the place, and in North Bay. It was a lot of fun, but I always would get nostalgic thinking about in the early history of mankind, and that's all they had. And then moving on forward to when this area was founded, the sailboats came in first. It wasn't motorized.
That's right.
And they all came in first. So sailboats always had a special spot in my heart, and but you don't see that many of them much anymore.
I love them. I love them. They're beautiful to look at, and they're so graceful and elegant. And I've always had an affinity for two-masted schooners. I think they're very fast. I grew up spending a lot of time studying on boats like the America and the Blue Nose and others like that were beautiful things. Now my father, he was a big square rig guy.
Okay.
And in fact, he built a scale model of the Cuddy Sark.
Okay.
It was about 8 foot long. It took up a whole room on the house just about, but everything on it worked. And it was just his passion, and I think that's probably where my love of sail came from.
It passed on down. What about, was that down in Apalachicola?
Yes.
Whatever happened to that boat?
It ended up, he just didn't have room for it anymore. I think he sold it for a pittance of what it was, and I don't know who has it now. For a while it was in an antique shop there, and someone's bought it and it's gone. So
that's cool.
I would love to have it myself now, just for the,
As we get older, we have a lot deeper appreciation for those things, especially that we built, or our uncle or granddaddy built, or dad built.
That's right.
All kind of cool stuff. Do you have any of his old tools left?
Oh yeah,
got a lot of those.
He's still alive, so he's got most all of that, and I'm sure it'll end up with me before terribly long, but we'll see, because he's just not able to get around like he was and do what he does. So.
Good deal. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with Daniel. Okay, welcome back. Still, we're talking about boats and all off the air, and there's so many things you can do. Like here locally, there, people get, renting out pontoon boats and doing boat rides, and all kind of, dinner cruises and all kinds of things you can do with boats. So, fun things. Okay, we want to move on. One of the things, and we were talking about too, we love dogs, and I know most of y'all, almost all of y'all that I know, have dogs and love dogs, and now you're German Shepherd, right?
Yes.
So how's the dogs doing?
She's doing great. I've got the German Shepherd. She's all black, and then I've got the English Bull Terrier, which is like the target dog, and he's full of himself, and the two of them together, they get along really well. It's surprising, but they really love each other. So,
we had a German Shepherd when I was a boy, and I absolutely loved that dog. They were just smart and obedient, and they were just smart dogs.
They are, and they're so different because the Bull Terriers are so headstrong, and you can't train them because they're so headstrong. There's nothing you can do with them. They're going to do what they want to do. And then the Shepherds want to please you so much, they're easy to train. And then, but the two of them together, it's just a funny paradox, the two of them together.
Yeah, I know Jeff had one too. He was just talking about how he misses it. But in training the dogs, you decide to let someone else train them, or are you going to train them, or what are you going to?
I used to dog train canines. In fact, I did that for a while overseas, but I've just got to a point where I didn't want a working dog with this one. I just wanted a lap dog, and that's what she is. She goes hunting or fishing, anything you want to do.
Yeah.
she's well behaved, well minded, without a lot of emphasis put on it. So
Yeah.
I just try to enjoy her company more than try to make her something she's not.
There's a lot to be said about that. A lot to be
Yep.
said about it. Just want a lap dog. I know one of the FWC guys, the K9 guys, and they just had to retire his dog after 10 years of service. And,
Wow.
and it's part of the family.
That's right.
And well, when you're training K9s, I always want to ask this question to these trainers: what's the biggest challenge, if you say German Shepherd or any dog, in training a dog? Just having to repeat everything, or
Pretty
more
much.
headstrong?
Some, it's got a lot to do with the breed, because and everybody's got their own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy shepherds. I think that they're multidimensional. You can train them to do several tasks. Not to discredit golden retrievers, which can be trained for certain purposes. Malinois are extremely good at biting, so you can train them for that type of work. But I don't know that they're as acclimated to being able to be trained for other things. So it's when you think about everything across the board that they do. I've always had an affinity for shepherds.
Yeah.
The Malinois became very important in training with law enforcement and the military for several reasons. They do well with that type of work, and it's my understanding that they don't have the problem with hip dysplasia that a lot of German Shepherds have over time.
Yes.
So sometimes you can extend their actual working time, but as far as all well-rounded, the Shepherd's still a do-it-all dog to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
They're strong and fast too. I like them. My son Chip and Jill, they have a Boykin Spaniel, and I had a good friend that had one. We used to bird hunt with them. They're very intelligent dogs. I'm amazed at it.
Well, that's one of my loves now is quail hunting, and seeing that type of dog, how it's trained and it's worked, the spaniels and the German short hair pointers and all, that gives you a whole nother appreciation for just how versatile and how strong it is for a dog's desire to please you.
I know it.
They're indispensable. We couldn't hunt without them.
Oh, I know it. And then my nephew, they have their deer dogs, and how smart. So it's all different, whatever category you got. And then some just you want to hug. My grandkids have some of those. But what I want to talk about, Jerry Shores, he's former FWC guy. Jerry is like us. He loves dogs. He put this on the other day. This is what I just want to read it. He's talking about this dog right here. Okay, see the dog with a collar and everything. And
beautiful.
Isn't that a beautiful picture right there?
Yeah.
And Jerry, they got a farm up there in Washington County. But he wrote this. I'm gonna really read it to you because basically, just a friendly reminder that bird, deer, and small game season just around the corner. If you have property, you may encounter one of these dogs. The owner will be happy to come get their dogs. Okay, if you call them, what he's trying to get people, to realize, these dogs have homes. These dogs have homes. That funny-looking collar is a tracking collar, not a shock collar. A lot of people don't realize that, so don't remove the collar. Someone's looking for them, and you're not saving a dog, rescuing one if you take one and try to rehome it. You're stealing a dog. So most people know this, but some other people don't. So anyway, when everyone has good intentions, these dogs are loved and they love to hunt. So when you see these dogs beside the road or something with these collars, and I think people originally thought those were shocking collars, but they're trackers. And in fact, talking about deer hunters, all my deer hunting family and friends, they know exactly where they are. I mean, the whole game has changed. I chuckle when I go fishing. When I go hunting with them, because we follow the dogs on the screen here. That's crazy. But these tracking collars are important.
They are. They're very expensive too.
I know.
When you remove one of those, you are also taking something else that doesn't belong to you.
But I know this time of year they're going to be out there. Now, mostly bird dogs, they're going to have the people with them.
Right.
Sometimes the deer dogs, they'll get loose, and sometimes the bird dogs keep going across the branch, and then you lose sight of them and have to pull around. So y'all be on the lookout for your dogs.
It can be the same thing with hog dogs as well.
Yes.
Because they turn them out and they run free. So you have to be careful with that too.
Especially in the national forest areas and different places like that. You're going to go to those places, and you're gonna see them. And I know the lease I'm talking about up there off Highway 20 with Matthew, Chester, and those boys, they have like almost 15,000 acres, which is a lot of land. But you're right next to Highway 20 and Highway 12, and those dogs a lot of times end up on the highway there. So I wanted to talk about dogs segment because I know Daniel has this passion for dogs, and most of us do too. But if you see one loose and all, try to find them. So.
One of the places that we bird hunt is 3,000 acres, and the people we're with, they stay very close to their dogs, but you never know, something can happen. They take off and chase one or go, and you may have to look for it. So.
Yeah, and the same hunt lease the Mathis boys are on that Bear Creek lease up there off Highway 231 and 20. They have like 12,000 acres.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so anyway, be on the lookout for dogs. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back. Okay, welcome back. See, we're Daniel Cole, Panhandle Outdoors, expert on boats. Before we get back to Daniel, let's take a look at our fishing game time brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. We're looking at our time 8:18 to 10:18 this morning, this night, 8:47 to 10:47. I know, before we get back to boats, I know you enjoy flounder gigging, or you have a chance, didn't you used to do some of that?
I've never done that.
I thought maybe that's okay. Maybe that's why we got to take you flounder gigging. That's what it was.
That's what it was. I remember you talking about a fellow, Joe Eddy, who did a lot of flounder gigging.
And we have a mutual friend, he's the king of flounder gigging, and I get tickled because you grew up in Apalachicola and didn't do any flounder gigging. But you did crabbing.
My dad just wasn't into that type of stuff, so.
That's funny.
We didn't get the opportunity. It wasn't until actually I got into my adult life that I really got active outdoors.
And that's something. Okay, now, this time of year, of course, fall fishing is outstanding, but there's some things that we need to talk about on boats and what we need to start thinking about doing and all. So what kind of advice do you give folks?
Well, if you're going to put your boat up for store, because some people just they don't like to go out when it's cold, you get in the winter months. Just basic things to remember, be sure and put stabilizer in your fuel. Be sure and run the boat with the stabilizer in the fuel before you put the boat up for the winter, if you're going to, because that will allow that to be inside the injectors, carburetors, and other parts of the fuel system to keep things from getting varnished up in there from the fuel. And the other thing is, remember to put a battery maintainer on there, because once a battery gets down to a certain point, it's useless and you cannot bring the charge back up. So if you let a battery go totally dead and sit that way, you'll be buying a new battery. But if you keep a maintainer on it, a lot of batteries now are maintenance free, so you don't have to worry about if it has fluid or not in it. But if you have the old style, the lead acid, then be sure it's got fluid in it, and be sure you keep it on a maintainer so that when you get ready to use it next spring, you better be ready to go.
And we talk about this every year, and we're bad about not keeping it plugged in or something over the weekend. But those batteries, they're getting expensive now.
They're expensive.
You recommend lithium batteries for the most part? Or?
There's some applications that lithium batteries don't work as well as AGM or gel. So I'll be honest with you, probably like a trolling motor is where your lithium batteries really are going to shine, because they got lighter weight. You get these higher thrust trolling motors, you get a lighter weight battery with more power to last longer. But like for my purposes, my little boat, I still run lead acid, but it's I keep it charged, and I run lead acid on my trolling motor, but I keep it charged, and but lithium is the way of the future. We're going to get to that point where I think everything is going to be lithium at some point, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a great product. I just think other segments of the boating industry are going to have to catch up to that technology for everything to be able to run off of it.
That's a good point, and valid right there as far as what the future holds on lithium. You go to these boat shows and all. I mean, that's all you see, these kind of things and all.
Right.
As far as the style of boats, we're talking about different styles. People are still liking these skiffs, these small skiffs. They've always been popular from.
They're great for our area.
I mean, you can do so much.
You can be up the river and freshwater fish and be in the bay the next day and be out in the Gulf the next day. I mean, they offer such a wide variety of uses. So
I know it, and I know I have a friend that's actually sort of constructing one now. I'm going to get with him pretty soon and get some pictures. He sent some pictures already, but when he finishes it off. And that, if you're going to build a boat and have time doing it, have his passion to do it, that would be the kind of boat to build. If you,
That's right.
You know, of course, you'd want to make sure.
we think about it for years. How many people built these little wood bateaus of different sizes?
Yeah.
Look at oyster skiffs.
Yeah.
You know, all these different type boats, you know, that were used for everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. And so, you know, we have different styles and design. You know, we have different designs of hulls now that are more efficient under speed and, you know, things of that nature. But the reality is that a good old homemade skiff will do almost anything you want it to do.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. Homemade. These guys built their own skiff. They got the logs and lumber and cut it, and you know, those guys in Apalachicola. I mean,
That's right.
There were some of them that were just experts.
They sure were.
And you saw
I worked with several of them.
Did you?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I
they
remember
built quality products that last for years.
What were some of those names? I remember some of those guys' families.
The Polaronuses, Pete Polaronis was known for building a lot of wood boats.
Yes.
John Vathis, him and I grew up with him and his boys, and they were a little bit older than me, but we were really close. And you know, there were others as well, but those were two that I was really close to.
Yeah.
And I saw some really quality product come from both of them. But they were good about their maintenance as well. That's why their stuff lasted. I think part of the problem with boats in this society we're in now is everybody is in this disposable mode where we want everything that's zero maintenance. We're going to burn it up for what we want, and then we're going to discard it and get something else.
Yeah.
Back then, people would make something and they took care of it for years.
What a great point right there. You're exactly right.
So, you know,
our
busy lifestyles kind of demand that now, but
yeah.
But you know, but there's something to be said for something older that's been cared for and nurtured over the years, and you know, is still there to be proud of. So
you better believe it. What a great point right there. And they built it, and they knew how to take care of it. They take it out each year and scrape the hull and everything, and take care of it. Well, we're about to run out of time. I could sit here and talk about boats all morning. I know you could too. But we appreciate you coming on and keep us posted on that paddle wheeler.
I will.
We want to see some pictures on that, but appreciate it. If you have any questions, give Daniel a call, any kind of boat questions or whatever you need to do. Thank you, Daniel.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Y'all have a great day today. Do something good for your fellow man. Enjoy the outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.